Curtis, go ahead and get started, please.
Hey, Muss, you guys just came off this four-game segment with Atlantis and Duke, and now you've kind of got one of these Anthony Ruda specials sandwich before this game against Oklahoma. I know you guys want to challenge yourself, but now that you're in the thick of it, just curious what your thoughts are on the schedule so far and where this particular game is placed.
Uh, I think you can, look at what Furman did last year, playing Virginia. They played an SEC school in South Carolina. You can look at that score. I think it was 19. We've talked to our team about that. This is a team that's got some returning players that have won a lot of games. Furman is one of the best coached teams in the entire country. They do a great job playing off their elbows with their big men. And then they do a great job of backdoor cutting. They have great shooting at the 1, 2, 3, and 4 spot. Their big guy 13 does a great job rim running. So that's, in a nutshell, Furman is a team that's projected to win their league in the same league as UNCG. And as we've talked about over and over, we try to schedule teams that we think can win their league, to better position ourselves if we win games. If we don't win games, it doesn't help at all. But we're trying to, I think if you look at the schools that we have on our schedule moving forward, there's some really, really good basketball teams.
It feels like Debo's been around so long, maybe we don't ask about him as much as maybe we should. I know his percentages might not be where he wants them to be. He seems like a guy that usually heats up as the seasons go along. Just what have you seen from him so far this season? What are you looking for moving forward?
Well, I think, every night he's got a tough defensive assignment. We usually put him on the best opposing teams, offensive threat. Just he came in at the other night, and I thought he helped our press break. He's just a guy that understands the system. He understands every position. I think the thing that no one would really know unless you're inside of our meetings and stuff is the fact that when we call a play, he can play all 5 positions. So if somebody doesn't know a play, one of our newer players that's still trying to understand our 3rd and 4th option on sets, Debo can slide in and play a spot and slide somebody else over to to maybe a more comfortable or a spot that doesn't have as many options.
Scotty?
Yeah, Eric, L the other night credited Coach Smart for sending him some clips of when he played well against Duke last year. And I think Keith gave him just some more advice about just staying out of his own head and just playing his game. I know like all of your assistants have value on your staff or they wouldn't be on your staff, but like what is the value of a Keith Smart to you?
Well, I think obviously Keith being a 2-time NBA head coach, I think, the experience that you can give to a player. I don't know if there's a team in the country that has that. And then I just think that, the pro exposure that a lot of our guys have. And Keith, with the way that we've set up our scouting and stuff, I think it allows Keith to do special projects like that. As Michael is doing the personnel, as Root is doing how we want to play offensively, and as Todd Lee is doing our defensive stuff and the opposing team's offense, I think it allows Keith to take a more of an overview, big picture look at our team, and that allows him to do things like send L clips and things that we talk about in staff meetings. We need everybody. Like right now, a big thing is getting better at getting our opposing teams play calls. Blake and some of our other guys stepped up today when we now have a better grasp of our next 2 opponents' play calls than maybe we had recently. We thought that was an area that we were deficient in, so to speak. And, we want to improve our zone offense. And Coach Lee did a study on our zone offense with one of our outside services that we use. And we found out that our zone offense is one of the best zone offenses in the country based on a limited, we didn't know that unless somebody dives into it in a short sample size. So All these guys are working around the clock. They do a great job. Coach Smart's experience is second to none of anybody in college basketball as an assistant coach.
Last thing I've got, through 8 games, how would you maybe rate this team's game plan discipline?
I think really good. I mean, do we want to continue to evolve and improve? Certainly, but I thought that, and I think I mentioned it after the Purdue game, which was an exhibition game. I thought we did a really good job executing that night. In the Bahamas, I mean, we had no prep whatsoever for North Carolina. There was no time. I mean, if we have 14 hours between games and you sleep 7 of them, I mean, you got to eat 2 meals. I mean, so I'm going to throw those last 2 games out from a preparation standpoint for the players. So I think I think the new guys have done a good job. We certainly want to continue to get better for sure in that as well.
Bob?
Hey, Eric, you alluded to the Southern Conference connection. Is that something you really hit with the players? Like, hey, we already lost the team that was picked behind these guys in this league, and these mid-majors, their coach has been there 7 years. They got a bunch of older guys. Is that something that resonates with the players, that you've already lost to a team from this league, and now you're playing what's projected as the best team in the league?
Bob, I mean, certainly. I mean, like we pointed it out for sure. And it's, we still got, 48 hours. We're going to continue to point that out, but I think we're in a new, I think scheduling wise, you got to think about how you schedule moving forward. I mean, I watched last night, University of California at San Diego's UCSD, which was a Division II school not that long ago, play a team that was in the national championship last year. They were up 14 with 6.5 minutes to go. And San Diego State basically gets an offensive rebound to win that game. The night before, it was UCLA hosting another UC school in UC Riverside. That went to a 1-point win for UCLA. These happen every single night. I think by the end of non-conference time, you're going to see as many upsets or whatever word you want to use. I think you see it. We've talked every day about how it's happening across college basketball. So you really, really got to be ready to play every single night.
And then I know it's only been a couple of days since we asked you about Tremont. Just wondering, is he able to do anything in practice? Kind of what's the latest on him? Any shot he could play Monday night?
Well, he did, basically even on his own, yesterday, just nothing, nothing there to report. Now today, in uniform, went through some things that were non-contact, went through some things that were not going to be reactionary plays, meaning things on defense. The concern right now is not the back. The concern continues to be the hip and the groin. He did a lot more today than what I would have thought he would have done. And then we'll see where he's at, really tomorrow, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that, tomorrow after practice, and then how he is at shoot around Monday will determine. I would say that we feel very confident that he would play in the game after Monday. Based on the progress. Monday is still up in the air. I would say, Bob.
Yeah, I know you mentioned he had issues with his groin, his hamstring. Is that sort of all offshoots of his back, kind of messing up the rest of his body? Or I'm not a doctor, obviously.
But neither am I. But yes, I think after the aftershock of the back, the groin is the most concerning amongst trainers, doctors, and player.
I got a couple more, but I see Jackson's got his hand up, so I'll turn it back to Mike, and if time allows, you maybe swing back to me. Thanks.
Jackson?
Hey, Eric. Jeremiah, he had a good game against North Carolina, made the 2 threes at the end of the half against Duke. I mean, how have you seen him kind of progressing and, kind of growing with confidence with important contributions the past 2 games?
Yeah, Jackson, I think that's, one of the big reasons we injected him into the starting lineup was to try to help build his confidence. I mean, it was really funny. I don't know if I can remember a player. I mean, he said walking out of the huddle before the jump ball, he said, "Coach, do you want me to let it fly?" I mean, I'm like, I don't, I mean, he literally was serious. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess if you're open, and you have confidence, yeah, we want you to quote unquote, let it fly. He waited until the end of the half, obviously, to let it fly. But yeah, I mean, we want Jackson. We really want to see JD shoot the ball with confidence. It really opens up our spacing for dribble drives when he's knocking down shots. And so certainly that was a real positive from a roster management standpoint and a rotation standpoint to see Jay Davenport knock down those 2 big threes at the end of the first half.
I guess it's better he's at least checking with you than letting it fly without permission.
That would be a very true statement, Jackson. Thanks for pointing that out.
And last thing for me, he's doing so much for you guys, Trevin, this year. But a lot of his offense, it seems like it's either threes or offensive rebounds. Do you think that there's an extra level he can maybe get to within the offense, maybe, twos inside the paint, or are you happy with just him being an elite 3-point shooter, offensive rebounder, and all the other things he's doing for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think he can even go to the offensive glass more. His percentage, because we chart goes and no goes, and his percentage when he goes are off the chart. So if we could get him to go to the O boards a little more, I think that'll even increase his offensive rebound load. But we have really worked on him and kind of placed him in different spots on the floor to be able to, especially against Duke, to get open threes. I mean, the big part of the game plan was him to try to get as many open looks as we possibly can. But certainly, we've added a new portion to our practice, which is nothing but skill development after we do our 10-minute shooting segment. And in his individual skill development, we've really focused on ball handling and one-on-one moves, because I think that's the next evolution to his game.
Jacob?
Yeah, hey, Coach. After a win like the one against Duke, how do you keep the team level-headed going into a game against a non-Power 5 team?
Practice and demand and have accountability and demand a little bit more and try to demand a little bit more after that. I mean, I don't know what else to do other than prepare the same way that we prepared for Duke. That's the that's the recipe that you want to try to have.
Bob?
Eric, looking at Furman, they're averaging 9 steals, and I know they're playing right now, so this might change a little bit, but they're averaging 9 steals, about 9 threes, 84 points. Just what do you think about those stats? I mean, they're obviously taking the ball away a lot and hitting a lot of threes and getting up and down the court, it sounds like.
Yeah, they play with great pace off makes and misses. Their point guard does a great job of controlling pace. He's a high steal player at that point position. I mean, you've got to conserve your dribbles at the nail because they really overflood sometimes on the strong side. So you've got to understand that there's guys that are standing there waiting to dig if you put it on the deck. But again, Bob, I think really well coached team, play with great pace, run great offense, take a lot of threes. They took 30 threes the other night. Number 24, Williams, who went to the same high school as Jay Davenport, took 8 threes at the power forward position. Not often do you see a power forward have 8 3 balls attempted. Great point guard play. They can play 2 point guards at a time. Sometimes Carter Witt, number 11, will slide to the off guard. And he's kind of a point guard as well. So and then Foster's a star player at the small forward. They do a great job getting the ball to number 5 on button hook post ups. They do a good job of running Foster off a UCLA post up. That's important for us to understand. And then off the bench, their backup 3-man, number 15, is shooting the ball at a 60% clip from 3. So a lot of things that you've got to deal with. And you cannot let their 5-man be a great trigger guy. And then they have a counter when you try to pressure the elbow and they'll dive their 4-man. So there's a lot of themes that we've got to try to grasp between now and when we play.
You just were talking earlier. I remember you talked about this on your radio show a couple weeks ago about the parity involved and how teams might start scheduling differently, playing more Power Fives, but maybe more conference games. But still, we know who the big names are historically, and I know you're a student of the game. And your short time here, you've beaten Indiana on the road, you've beaten Kansas in the tournament, you've beaten Kentucky home and away. You obviously just beat Duke.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga, Cincinnati. I'm talking about teams that won multiple national championships, though. It's a lot. Just wondering what you think about that. And it's always good to beat anybody, but when you beat the real, you haven't played UCLA, you hadn't had a chance to do that yet. But those names, Duke, Kansas, Indiana, Kentucky. I mean, those are names that resonate. Even if people aren't big fans, they know those are historic basketball programs.
Other than you, Bob, my mom's really pumped up about those wins for sure. So Bob Holt and Chris Musselman are the two people that have pointed out the big wins against some. No, I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, it's hard to beat and it's kind of been in a relatively short time too. It's not like it's over a 12-year period or a 15-year period. The team has risen to a lot of really big occasions on big stages, and you do that with having really good players that are really confident.
Let's got one more. A lot of coaches, it's early in the year, but the team's struggling. They're playing a marquee game. They're not going to say this is a must when we got to win this. They're just not probably going to do that. But I know that's not your style. I guess, why do you do what maybe a lot of coaches don't and put pressure on your team and kind of you don't sugarcoat it? You just let them know, man, this is the way it is. You better go out there and win,
Yeah, I mean, you just try to be truthful with them on, our fans knew that it was a must. I mean, it's really comforting when you're, making a protein shake in the morning, getting ready to go to work, and your wife tells you it's a must win, and your daughter's sitting there, and I mean, I guess it's we all knew it. And then if you tell the team it's a must win and you don't win, then you got to figure out how to regroup and regain confidence and set new goals moving forward, because there is risk of doing it, which is, you've got to understand when you do put pressure on a group, and you got to make sure that a group can handle it. And we certainly felt like we could handle it mentally. And, if you don't win it, like I said, you got to figure out how to regroup and refocus.
So your daughter told you it was a must win too?
Yeah, Mariah. I mean, yes, for sure.
Okay. And then when you tell your team it's a must win and then you win, I mean, how good a feeling?
I don't know if Mariah, I don't know if she said it's a must win. It was, Dad, you gotta win tonight.
Okay. Well, when that sounds like a must win to me. When you take that approach, that tact with your team, and then they come through, and like you mentioned, obviously without teamwork, I mean, how good is that? How gratifying, satisfying, whatever line you want to use there?
I mean, I don't think we should be satisfied at all, Bob. Obviously, that's a huge win. I mean, you saw all the players celebrating. If you haven't looked at Cade's Abergast or Matthew Musselman's Instagram, I would highly suggest all fans and media members and family members of media members and family members of fans spend that 14 minutes of watching Matthew Musselman or Cade's Instagram, because those guys had a blast. They had fun, which you want. But when they came in the locker room, Furman's depth chart was already up on our dry erase board as they came in and were celebrating the Duke win. And so you got to turn the page as quickly as possible. Understand we have two big games this week, leading with a Monday game against a team that's really confident and well coached.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks, Eric.
A lot of good football games on today. A lot of good college hoops game. Make sure you guys are glued to your TV.
Did your dog say it was a must win?
Swish and Duncan, I couldn't tell by their body language what they thought of the pregame Duke hype. They were pumped up afterwards, though.